there, and welcome to my Sunday night knit night. You're almost not getting a podcast this week, and I have to talk about why first thing, because I'm devastated, absolutely devastated. Okay, so we're in my bedroom, and you are balanced on a laundry basket because I don't have any furniture here in the middle of the room at the end of the bed, and I didn't want to rest you on the bed, and yeah. And the laundry basket was full of washing. Now, my husband has tried to be very helpful and do some washing in the last week or so, and I am very grateful because I'm usually the only one that goes through the wash basket. Unfortunately, my husband is a grab it all and shove it in the wash kind of man, and there were things in the wash basket, because it is my domain and no one goes there but me. There are things in the wash basket that were hand knit that I was going to, depending on what item it was, either put it on a light wool wash cycle on the machine or potentially hand wash it. He grabbed those things and he's washed them, and I've only just found out because I went looking for a wash basket thinking that's the perfect size to stand here, and found a full one in the spare room and was like, oh, this must have been from the washing that he put out in the week and he's just put it in here. I'll empty it out at the same time. So I've emptied out this wash basket, and he's just grabbed things and shoved them in. And he's washed 3 hand knit garments, 2 of which are mine, 1 of which was Ellie's, and they're completely ruined. And I want to cry. I don't have many hand knit garments because I'm an accessory knitter. I've been trying this year to break out of it and become a garment knitter. But I'm an accessory knitter through and through. I'm a 2 skeins, 1 to 2 skeins knitter, definitely. Anyway, so a garment is a big deal for me. So the first one you might remember from earlier this year, and I wore this even though it is so scratchy. I'm actually not as devastated about this one, but at the same time I am. But basically I wore this to unravel, and it was, I can't even remember the pattern name. I'm so frazzled, I'm so upset. But yeah, this, and I short sleeved it even though it's not a short sleeve pattern, and it's so shrunk. Like, look how cropped it is now, and it doesn't, like, I could just about make it come across me before. Now that I don't have a chance in hell. But this is made from, oh, I can't remember the yarn, but it's an Aran weight, and my parents bought it back from their holiday, and it is the scratchiest thing in the entire world. So it wasn't getting a lot of love anyway, and that's part of the reason it was in the wash basket for forever and a day, because I don't love it because it's so scratchy, and people told me it would soften up and it never did. So whilst I am sad that it now is completely shrunk out of proportion and a little bit felted, that's going in the bin and I can deal. The next thing I am struggling to deal with. You may remember, if you follow me on Instagram, that I was incredibly proud this year, early in the year, to finish a flax for myself and then a matching flax for my daughter Ellie. They were both in there and he washed them both, and now they are completely felted. This one actually, look at that crease through the front, because it's like completely, it's like it's like completely, there's no, you can't even see through it, it's completely felted. It's Drops Nepal, which if I remember rightly is wool and alpaca. And look at my one. Now I deliberately made this with sleeves down to here because that's the sleeve length I was really keen on. It's at my neck now. Look at that sleeve length. I am so sad. And it's too small for me. I mean, I could probably still stretch it over myself, but also it was a really baggy, like under my belly, right down. And now it's definitely not. When it's up on my shoulder, it would come to here. And it's totally felted. It's totally felted. Like the definition's even going out of the garter panels down the arms because it's so felted. They're all going in the bin. That's like, I'm still knitting, or I have one on the needles of these in a different colour for my friend who loved this on me so much that she wanted a matching one, but in a different colour, you know, matching pattern. How am I going to knit on that now when I'm like, I don't have one anymore? I'm devastated. I mean, I didn't even like Drops Nepal that much. That's got a bit of a scratch to it. So they're not, but they were in my price range. Like I know there's issues with Drops. Some people have had like patterns ripped off and stuff, so Drops isn't the best company to go through anyway. And that wasn't the nicest yarn. And it was cheap, but I still don't really, like I can't replace that right now, and then I actually have to knit it, and basically I now have like no hand knit garments, and even though they weren't the best hand knit garments, I'm looking at the hours of work and the money that did buy the yarn, and the fact that the other yarn was like my parents' souvenir yarn that they brought me back. I'm just feeling incredibly sad. I've just gone and had a conversation with my husband about, you know, about dealing with hand knits. I don't think he will ever touch a hand knit again because I think he could, I did, I started to well up. I was almost crying, you know, crying about a knit jumper, but I was just like, what do I even say? What do I even say? And he did apologise. But you know when someone says, I'm sorry but, and he follows up with, but I was just trying to help and get through some of the washing. And I'm like, it's not an apology if it's, I'm sorry but. Just saying. So, yeah, it'll never happen again. Either because, like, he is now probably living in fear, or because if it does, I won't be married anymore. No, I love the man, and he is a trier, and he is a massive help, and I absolutely adore him. He is very much a doer. We are very much a team, and in this together. But sometimes your teammate does something stupid and you want to smack them on, and I never would, because I'm not that sort of person. But it was definitely a little bit miffed off. Anyway, 9 minutes in, no intro. This was going to be a short one, now it's not. Got my husband to blame. So, if you have sat through the massive rant at the beginning, my name is Laura. This is where I come to talk all about my knitting, because otherwise I'm driving my husband crazy. Don't really care about that right now. I might go and talk knitting at him for an hour just to get him back for what he's done. But I have no in-person, real life here knitting friends, so I turned to podcasts and the internet to talk to people about knitting, people who actually care about it, rather than my husband, who definitely does not care about it. And yeah, I found an amazing community, so this is where I come every week. So I'm from Lowestoft in Suffolk in the UK, and I live here with my husband and our 2.5-year-old daughter, and I am currently like 19 and a half weeks pregnant with baby number 2. last baby, because I don't do pregnancy very well and there's definitely no way I am doing this again. Okay, so a couple of things to go through. The first thing I wanted to mention was that I am now at like 492 subscribers on YouTube. What? If we get to 500, I will be giving away this skein of yarn. It is hand dyed by King Becky and it is the Belle colourway. It is 100% merino superwash wool in a sock weight and there is 100 grams. And here it is. So if you would like to be in with a chance of winning that, subscribe. And the first podcast episode where I am at 500 subs and yeah, like I've hit that, I will announce the giveaway and then I will open a thread in the Ravelry group. So I have a Ravelry group. It is the Lonely Knitter podcast group. Feel free to go over and join the group for things like giveaway draws, which will be there in future, but I am not incredibly active over on Ravelry. The best place to find me is Instagram, where I am always active, pretty much always. I don't think I never get back to messages, like, you know what I mean, like I don't think I ever miss messages on Instagram. I'm quite good over there, and I am the Lonely Knitter on Instagram. I am the Lonely Knitter too on Ravelry because someone pipped me to the post. And yeah, we have a Facebook group that is Knit Along with Geordie Knits and the Lonely Knitter, co-hosted with my amazing knitting bestie Katie of the Geordie Knits podcast. And we currently have a shawl along going on in there. It started at the beginning of June and it runs for 3 months. And it is any shawl, basically. You can enter. I will be opening a Ravelry thread for entries in their finished objects, but you can also post them in the Facebook group and you can post them in the group in Katie's Ravelry group as well. So I think that is most of the things that I want to talk about at this point, so I'll crack on. I have a couple of finished objects to show you. I need to get my second sock blocker because these were prep things that I was going to do before the utter devastation of having to put 3 hand knit sweaters in the bin. Yeah. Here we go. So last week I showed you the first of my flamingo legs socks. It is a vanilla sock in the flamingo legs colourway by Stranded Dyeworks. I have started putting the little bulb stitch markers down the leg and the foot. I do 20 rows. This is my standard vanilla sock. 20 rows of rounds of knit purl to purl ribbing, 40 rounds of stockinette, a heel flap and gusset, then 50 rounds of stockinette, and then a wedge toe. I have big size 7 clompers, so I need a long foot, and I don't actually like a long leg. I have quite chunky lower legs. My ankle isn't that chunky, but then my calf is, and so I definitely would need to increase on my leg if I wanted to go that much higher up. And I'm also a bit of a hot bod, so especially in winter I love to wear knit socks, but I don't really ever want them going that far up my leg. I knit these on ChowGoo's 2.25mm needles, and I have a pair. They are a finished object. So this is one I showed you last week, and this is its little friend, which was last week I was 10 rows into the leg, about here, so I knit them cuff down, and so I finished this sock. So that was Sunday last week when I recorded. I was here, finished this sock on Wednesday during the day, because I then went to the cinema and I needed a new cast on. I was quite chuffed with that because I worked an 8-hour shift, well 9 hours when you include my lunch break, on Monday and Tuesday, and I had no time to knit, so I only worked on these on the Sunday and the Wednesday, and managed to get a sock done. So that is my first finished object of the week. And then I have another one, which again, prep time, this time because I only actually have one pair of sock blockers. One sock, 2 socks. So, as I mentioned, I had a trip to the cinema on Wednesday night. That is a big deal for me. I don't go to the cinema very often. My husband does not like the cinema. The seats hurt his back. Yeah, the seats hurt his back. That's how it came out, like it sounded wrong. And he's just not very keen. And so it's quite a long way to our nearest good cinema. But we have this little local one that has teeny tiny screens, no aircon, and it's very little, it's independent. And I just don't ever go. It's not that expensive, I just don't seem to go. But I have no issue with going to the cinema on my own. It's just, I just never got around to it. I would like to. But my friend was going to see The Lion King with her family, and I had mentioned that I had really wanted to go, but that I had no one to go with, and she let me tag along on her family ticket, so at a discounted price as well. And I needed to cast on. So I balled up, hand balled as well, because I couldn't find my ball winder. This skein from Ducky Darlings. So this is the colourway Road Trip in her sock yarn, and it is just amazing. I love it. I feel that you can't see, there we go, maybe that's a bit more true. There's a lot of like really nice dark pinks and light pinks in there, and it's almost, it keeps the lighter pink, it gives me this major like rose quartz vibe. Anyway, I love these, and the gorgeous swirling that they're doing, like flashing down the leg. It's almost like a stripe. And so this is from the amazing Hayley of Ducky Darlings. I bought this at the Wool Monty, and yeah, I picked it up, fell in love with it, picked it up, and then realised that the colourway was Road Trip, which seemed very fitting because I had a major road trip, like 9 hours in total in the car to and from, like round trip, to get to the Wool Monty. So yeah, I cast these on the Wednesday night, cast the first sock on. I don't knit them two at a time, I did do them one at a time. On my Chow Goose, my 2.25mm Chow Goose, I cast on, and the idea at the beginning of the day was hoping to finish the pink socks earlier and be able to knit the rib on the first sock so that I would just have the leg to crack on with, and then depending on how much I had got knit in the cinema, I would decide whether or not I wanted to do afterthought heels or do my normal heel flap and gusset. Well, I didn't manage to get the rib done. All I managed to do, because I had to ball up the yarn, I couldn't find my ball winder, and I don't have a Swift anymore, so I have to lay it over my knees, thumb ball method, and which I love. I know you can do other methods, but I love the thumb ball method. But all the while looking after my toddler, so constantly picking up and putting down and joining her with games and things like that. So it didn't, it meant that I wasn't, it took me a really long time, it took me way longer than normal. I need to buy a new Swift. I just keep buying other people's yarn instead. Like I keep buying all the dyers' yarns instead of going and buying myself a Swift. And it is a one or the other choice because I don't have a massive amount of disposable income for yarn, and I'd rather yarn any day of the week. So it's my own fault. Anyway, so all I managed to get done was the cast on. I literally cast on my 64 stitches, and I knit the first 32. I knit half a round in knit 2 purl 2 rib, and then I went into, this is the first one, I went into the cinema, sat down, and started when the lights went down, so right at the end of the ad, because I had popcorn and a blue slushie because 12 years old. So I chomped on popcorn through most of the ads because we were there to get a good seat right at the beginning, and then the lights went down and I grabbed my knitting out, and I didn't also, like, my friend very much knows that I knit anywhere, and she's one of those really cool people that like never bats an eyelid at anything, but her family, I was like, I don't really want to embarrass them. Now I feel like they wouldn't have cared either. They seem very much like my friend, but yeah, at the time I wasn't sure. And so I literally knit down to about here. I was trying to eyeball it, so I like 20 rounds of knit 2 purl 2 rib in the cinema in the dark, trying to see, because I don't need to see to knit 2 purl 2 or to knit vanilla, but I did want to see how long my cuff was, because it felt in my hands long enough. So I sort of held it up to the screen. I thought that looks long enough, because I don't care if I'm a bit off with the rounds of rib. And then I started knitting the leg, and when I came out and counted, I had knit 18 rounds of knit 2 pelty rib and exactly 30 rounds of knit. And I did stop quite a few times to have a popcorn chomp and a slushy drink. So I'm okay with that. I'm alright with that, and it was quite a long film. I think. It wasn't that long actually once the ads were over. But so that was fine. I just finished off my leg and did my normal heel flap and gusset, and then my 50 rounds on the foot and my wedge toe, and then I finished the other one today. This one still has its stitch markers in, the first one doesn't. You can see them, I've just jammed them on the head. I literally kitchen stitched this about half an hour ago. So both of those pairs were done this week. So I've knit pretty much 3 whole socks this week. The second one of the flamingo leg socks and the whole pair of the Ducky Darlings ones. I need to take all the stitch markers off these. I haven't done it yet, but when I have taken all of the stitch markers off, they're going in my box of socks. We've been packing things away, or not packing things, but like tidying things away and trying to streamline everything in our house, because we had the estate agents round on Friday and we are hopefully going to put our house on the market. Yeah, so my husband has been doing the majority of that hard work. Again, trying to remember that he pulls a lot of weight round here, and that, love him very much, he definitely did not mean to kill all my sweaters. So my darling husband had tidied away a few things, one of which was my box of socks. Another of which was this vase, which is full of minis, many of which were gifted to me at last year when I had no minis at all, and then many of which I have bought or are scraps left over from things. This is a massive chunk of stranded dye works that is going to be balled up for advent calendar bits and bobs that I'm swapping with people, but this was living in, the top isn't very neat because there's a few that have gone a little wrong. My toddler definitely had this. But yeah, this, I was talking on Zoom with a couple of my friends earlier, and one of them was Emma from the Hairy Sheep, Emma and Rosie from the Hairy Sheep podcast, and I said, I have a vase like that, but it's not a goldfish bowl one, like Ellie from Craft House Magic style, but you know, different style, but I have one like that. But then I couldn't find it and I started to panic, and I was like, you better not have thrown that away. My husband is good like that. He would never ever throw away something of mine, mainly because he fears my wrath. But I went on a hunt for the box of socks and I found it eventually, literally 10 minutes before the podcast, and I thought, I don't know how many pairs I've got in here, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, and then I opened it and there was only 3 in there, which is devastating because we are way more than halfway through the year. But I got it out, thought I will add to it, so in there was these 3, and then I added in my Dragon Hill Studios stripy socks, so I now have 4 pairs in there knit this year. But I'm going to take off the stitch markers off my flamingo leg socks and off my road trip socks, my Ducky Darlings and my stranded socks, and put them both in there, so we will be up to 6 pairs. So I would love to have by the end of the year the full 12 pairs. That, I mean, more than that would be brilliant, but, and I can't see why I can't do it. In the last 2 weeks I've knit 3 pairs of vanilla socks. I can do it. I can do it. Anyway, so that's finished objects, and I have no whips to show you because I did grab this to bring upstairs with me to knit while I talk to you. So I normally knit while I chit chat. It is some Knit Picks Felici in a half knit sock, and these needles are Addies. I love the Chalgu 2.25 red lace in like an 80cm. I love them. I know 80cm is a little long when I don't want to do 2 at a time, my magic loop, but I am really happy. I love that length, I love it, and I need to buy some more because I only have 1 set and they're my favourite, and I'm finding myself not knitting on other socks just because I don't like the needles as much. These are going to be afterthought heels. I have put waist yarn in now because I am a chicken, but these need to be finished. This is all I have so far. I put the heel in here, I put the heel marker in here. They do need to be finished, and they're living in this lovely Jilly Makes Peanuts Snoopy bag. So I need to crack on and get those done. So I have no whips, but I do have some stash enhancement. So it's payday on Friday, and I have bought a lot of things. So next week there will be a little parade, hopefully, if everything's turned up, of things coming into the house. And then I will have nothing for at least 3 weeks because I am so poor. I have spent all the money. And then I will be saving from next month for Perth, a festival of yarn, which is just over a month away, and I will hopefully have some money to spend there. It's just after payday, so so stash enhancement. The first thing that came to me this week, this turned up on the Monday, and it was a lovely start to the week. I won a prize, a giveaway on my Creative Daydream podcast. So Carly, she's otherwise known as Falula on Instagram, I'm pretty sure, and the My Creative Daydream podcast on YouTube had a giveaway for a skein of yarn. She was giving away this skein, the Wool Barn skein, in the colourway Barley, and it is a 4-ply fingering weight luxury sock, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere and 10% nylon, 400 yards to 100 grams. And here it is, and oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. The speckles in this bad boy are to die for. I love it so much. So she was giving it away, and all she asked was that you comment on her YouTube video and said what you would use it for. So I would like to use it for a baby flax. Feeling a little bit raw about the whole flax thing now that I'm sitting here next to my 2 felted flaxes. But yeah, for a baby flax, I have rethought about that a little bit more since, because I was thinking maybe actually rather than a pullover, I would do a newborn cardigan of some sort, slash something with an open front, open neck. But no, I think I'm going to go back to the flax. So I think this is going to be a newborn size, or maybe 0 to 3 month size, flax. And she popped it into a tote bag, because who does not love a tote bag from Black Elephant? So I have a Black Elephant tote bag, which I do not own a Black Elephant tote bag, so I'm very chuffed with that. So thank you so much, Kylie. I was blown away, super happy, and it really started my week off well. As I said, I bought a few things this week, but I'm waiting for most of them to turn up still. However, one thing I bought on Friday, or one purchase, I bought a couple of things I bought on Friday, and it turned up on Saturday. Speediest delivery ever. And this was from Fruitful Fusion Dyes. This is the lovely Ishrat. Here is her card. Don't know how well you can see that, but she is Fruitful Fusion on Instagram, Fruitful Fusion Dyes on Etsy, and Fruitful Fusion Dyes on Facebook. And there's an email there as well, fruitfulfusion@live.co.uk. Ishrat's a total legend. I met her at the Wool Monty and we fangirled over one another, but I had never actually bought her yarn. I had just looked at it a ton and online on Instagram and said how amazing it was, but I had never got around to actually purchasing any. So when I got paid, I went straight onto her Etsy shop, and oh my gosh, there is so much in there and it is so amazing. So I would recommend anyone go over to Etsy and have a little look. She is really reasonably priced as well. I think these were $16.50 a skein. So I bought Harvest. Look at those oranges in there. So this skein is Harvest. There's her logo on there. And so the colourway Harvest, and it's 75% superwash BFL and 25% nylon in a fingering weight, and I love it so much. I think this might be my next pair of vanilla socks. And then I also picked up School Run, which is 70% superwash merino, 20% nylon and 10% bronze stellina. and that is again fingering weight, and it's 100 grams. And look at this, it's all the pinks and purples and blues, and it's so beautiful. And Ellie, when she saw this, when we opened the package together, and when she saw it, she was just like, this one me. No, I'm sorry, this one is going to be probably also vanilla socks for mummy, or shawl for mummy, or pattern socks for mummy, or something for mummy. So I might have to hide this one from her because I love it too much. I love it too much to give it to a toddler for her to have in a garment that she then messes. So maybe if I did myself vanilla socks, which only take about 60-ish, 65 grams of yarn, I will still have some left over to make her some little tube socks. So I bought these two amazing skeins. I really had a hard time picking. I'd seen a few others on an Instagram post earlier in the week and I was just obsessed with them, but then when I went over there, both of these just caught me instantly. They are so vibrant, they are so beautiful. So these ones came home with me, and I ordered them on the Friday and they turned up on the Saturday, so amazing service. And I got a tea, I got a rose, chamomile and lavender tea. I got a leaflet, excuse me, for Nottingham Yarn Expo, which Ishrat, I'm guessing, is vending at. I also got a lavender sachet, and I had mentioned, and I don't know if she puts this in with everyone's or if she had seen me mention it, I have no idea, but this pregnancy I have always loved the smell of lavender. I love lavender, always have done, and I used to make lavender bags with my grandma when I was little because she used to have a lot of lavender in her garden and we used to dry it and sew little bags, and I love it, love it, love it. But this pregnancy, I have loved it so much, and I am just like, oh. So there has to be lavender in my knitting bag at all time, and I have a lot of knitting bags, so I feel like I need a lot of lavender. So far I only have this sachet and one other, so they are rotating. But it is such a gorgeous smell. So yeah, I also got this little bag of lavender. But that was not it. Ishrat also sent me a little gift, and she put a note in here to say that I could keep it if I wanted or give it away, whichever I would prefer. And I am going to give it away, but only because I bought two, so I've got two that I need to use, and because the giveaway and prize bucket for the podcast is dry. And so I'd be pulling from stash anyway to give you guys prizes for the shawl along, and you know, I've taken this one from stash for the 500 sub, and that's absolutely fine because this podcast brings me a lot of love and a lot of fun, and so I have no issue whatsoever like with putting in a few things myself ever. But it is so amazing when somebody, sorry, this is really cool, and my water bottle is really cool, and I'm dying of heat. I have no issue whatsoever putting my own things in, but when people send me something to put in the giveaway pile, I am just really overwhelmed by the kindness, the love, the community spirit, and the fact that they have been so generous. So this is Eternal. And oh my gosh, I want to keep it so much. Okay, so it's mainly these dark greys, like almost to a black, like a charcoal, and then this like dusky pink, and then there's these little splashes of blue. It is so beautiful, it hurts. Oh, oh. So, yeah, I am gonna give it away. It's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it's 100 grams of fingering weight yarn, and it is just to die for. So I haven't decided what this will be a prize for. It's going in the prize bucket, and it will either be one of the prizes for the shawl along, or it will be a just general podcast prize. If you are a business or a dyer or make anything really, bags, stitch markers, or you are a viewer who has something that you aren't going to use and would like to donate it to the podcast, I would be absolutely honoured, and would very, very happily show it off and share it with someone on your behalf. So thank you so much, Ishrat. I really, really appreciate it, and your yarn is amazing and you have major talent. Everyone go and check out Fruitful Fusion Dyes, because it is a splendid place to be. Excuse me. One thing that I am going to quickly show you, because I had a couple of people message me, and I think it was last week I spoke about having bought some bulb stitch markers and getting 1,000 bulb stitch markers and 200 ordinary safety pins in a tub where they're all separate and they're all different colours. It was $7.99, it was on Amazon Prime, and I had Prime, so it didn't cost me anything in delivery. But a few people did want to see. So it comes in this plastic box, and you can see it's all divided sections. And then it has 2 catches here, which I've already popped. And there you go. So down the bottom here, these 4 cubbies are ordinary safety pins. I'm going to take all of those out because I don't use them very often, and all the rest are bulb stitch markers in a variety of colours, all sorted. I'll take those 4 sections of ordinary safety pins out of there and pop in instead progress keepers and other stitch markers, so hopefully this will store a lot of my stitch markers for me. So this week a couple of other things have been announced and are happening. One of those things is that I am one of the featured designers for Perth Festival of Yarn. So as you will know, if you have watched before, I am going up to Scotland to Perth Festival of Yarn in September. We are having it as our family holiday, so I'll be going with Ellie and Chris. They won't be coming to the show with me. They are just there for the holiday part, so they will be doing other things while I'm at the show, and I'm going to the gala night on the Saturday night, and I really, really hope to see lots of you there. But it's the hashtag Perth Pattern Along 19 that I wanted to talk about today. So I'm one of the featured designers, which means they basically there's a pattern along, a knit along, or crochet along going on, and you should use stash that you've bought from Perth if you're not going to Perth, or stash if you've not got any from Perth if you're not going to Perth, or if you're coming to Perth, you should get something and use it in the pattern along. And so you can buy a pattern or get a pattern from any of the featured designers, and then use the yarn you bought at the show or from stash, or have got previously from the show if you're not going, and then join in a knit along, or crochet, a craft along afterwards. And so I'm really, really excited to be one of those designers. And if you go and check out Perth Festival of Yarn, you on Instagram, they are slowly revealing, well not revealing, but like talking about their designers every few days, but also they have revealed on their Ravelry group all of the designers, links to them and discount codes, and a lot of the designers have discount codes off their pattern for varying amounts of time. I am also providing a discount code, and I am going to talk about it here. I probably won't say it here more than once because I think you should go and check out all of the other designers and their work, but I will say it just this one time, and that is that if you would like 20% off any of my patterns, absolutely all of them, from the 1st of August until the 30th of September, so a mammoth amount of time, you can use the code PERTH2019, Perth is all in capitals, Perth2019, and you will get 20% off all and any of the patterns in my shop. It isn't a one-use code, you can use it on as many times as you want and on as many of my patterns as you would like, and I'm just going to keep it up there until the 30th of September. And yeah, so I really hope if you choose me that you will use that code and have a really fun time joining in with the Perth pattern along. If my patterns aren't to your taste, go and check out that Ravelry thread, because there are, on the Perth Festival of Yarn group, because there are lots of other designers with other patterns and, you know, different levels of experience and different things going on, so chances are you will find something, probably more than one thing, that you like. And then the last thing that I had on my list, because I have written show notes because I am trying to be organised this week, the last thing I had on my list was plans, because I have some plans for this week, because I thought, as I haven't got any whips to talk about, I would just share what I would like to do next. So I am going to be re-knitting my Road to Perth shawl. It's knit out of Brambles and Me yarn. Brambles and Me is Mia. She is one of the vendors at Perth Festival of Yarn, and I am going to be knitting a sample for her, and I am going to be testing the pattern myself. So the pattern is almost ready to go out. I am incredibly anxious. The anxiety that I have around releasing patterns really varies. I think I've gotten to the point now with sock patterns where I can release one and feel like, it's okay, I've done this before, Shawl patterns are a different thing. I have released a shawl pattern before, but it was a shape that I was incredibly confident with, and I tested it twice after I'd written the pattern, before I even let my testers look at it. I have two shawls that are almost ready to go to testers, and I am just too chicken to hand it off to them or ask for testers to come and knit it for me, because I'm so scared that there might be things wrong with it, which is ridiculous because testers find those things wrong with it. But my anxiety is majorly in play, just because it's a lot bigger of an item to have to knit, and a lot more yarn to use, and I panic that people will think it's rubbish. I pretty much think everyone will think either the things I do or the person I am is rubbish. So yeah, it's just my anxiety playing me up, but I have promised myself that by the end of this week I will have that pattern out to testers, and I will have cast it on again myself, and I am going to stop this horrible circle of being anxious and then not doing things. I am going to. Anyway, so the other things that I have planned, I have this skein of Brambles and Me that I bought from the Wool Monty. It is the Ridge Base, which is 100% superwash blue flace Leicester, and it is a high twist 4-ply, 100 grams of 4-ply yarn, and it is in the colourway Northern Skies, so in this lovely blue. I have a sock pattern, a very basic sock pattern idea in my head, which I'm going to have a crack at. I have my ball winder. I found my ball winder out of the garage where Chris had packed it away, and I'm going to wind this up maybe tonight and get that cast on. After those have been done, or at least the first one of that's been done, I will have a little break and knit myself a pair of vanilla socks, which will be from the Harvest yarn from Fruitful Fusion Dyes. So first thing I'm casting on is the Northern Skies. I will knit the first sock and write up the pattern, and then probably cast on the vanilla sock. Again, I only have one pair of ChowGoo 2.25s. So yeah, these two, I might do one sock of this, then one sock of this, then one sock of this, and one sock of this. But those two are the next thing on my needles, other than that Road to Perth shawl that I want to test. So yeah, that's my knitting plans coming up. Last thing is just what's been going on throughout this week. I'll just do a little highlights. I said this last week, no one wants to hear about all the things that I have done for an entire week, but I have worked 3 days this week, as I worked a Saturday as well as my normal Monday and Tuesday. So I haven't had as much knitting time as I got the previous week where I didn't work the Saturday. And fun things that have gone on, we started potty training today. Basically, I have a couple of weeks off in about a week and a half, and I was planning to start potty training then, but my daughter's cousin, who is 4 days younger than my daughter and who my daughter sees quite a lot, she has started potty training already, because my sister-in-law is a teacher, she's off school, and she's going to take that full 6 weeks and crack it. But I was going to wait until my holiday. Ellie is loving it. She's just watching and learning, and she's like, I want to do that. I want to wear knickers. I want a big girl knickers. I don't want to wear a nappy. Anyway, today when we were out, we bought some knickers, and she was, you know, with again the intention that in a couple of weeks' time, well, she saw them, well, she helped pick them, but when we got home, she saw the bag and she said, I want to wear my knickers. And I thought, I can't, like, in good conscience, I can't stop her from wearing them when this is something she is telling me she is ready to do. So this afternoon, she's been in knickers all afternoon. I had 2 accidents. One was a little bit of a wee, and then she went, oops, I need a wee, and came and run and sat on the potty and did the second half on the potty. So I was really tough with her for that one, and that was like the first wee that she'd had since she was in the knickers. And later on, just before she went and had her dinner and then went and had her bath, she was really tired, and she was watching Peppa Pig and sort of looked almost like she was dozing a little in her chair, her little pink armchair that she has, and she wet herself. I think she just got sleepy and forgot because it's the first day. But we've had 2 poos and 4 wees on the potty. She was very proud of herself. She got a sticker every time, and yeah, tomorrow we're gonna crack on. I'm working, but I'm working the late shift, so in the morning she will be in knickers, and then she'll go to her nanny's house, and fingers crossed she'll be able to carry on there. Yeah, potty training, it's a scary thing. Obviously she's going to be wet at night until hormonally she is ready, but you know, at least it'll save me quite a bit in money for nappies, right? Also, it would be nice to get her well and truly potty trained before the new baby comes in December, because I would love to not have to change 2 sets of nappies. The other thing that has gone on this week is on Friday we had a big play date with all of her little friends, so there was 5 extra babies, 4 toddlers and 1 little just crawling in the house. And I also had 2 estate agents come around and look at the house, value it, have a chat with them. Me and Chris have now picked our estate agent, and we need to have a chat with them tomorrow. So yeah, we will hopefully be on the market very, very soon. Scary, scary times. That's about it really. That's everything that's gone on in my world this week, I think. I am a bit frazzled. I'm still a little bit shell-shocked from the incident. They're going in the bin. They're going in the bin. I'm putting them in the bin. I need that closure of just putting them in the bin and shutting the wheelie bin and going, right, because if I keep looking at them, I'm going to get cross every single time that I look at them. Not going to look at them anymore. Anyway, so yeah, that's everything for this week. Thank you so much if you have got all the way through. I have tried to be slightly quicker and not ramble as much, but it never really works. But hey, we're only at 48 minutes. We haven't got over an hour yet, so I've got to be doing something right. If you're stuck with me all the way through, thank you so much for getting here. And I really do appreciate you and the time you take to come and sit with me and make me feel, as always, so much less of a lonely knitter.